decided to switch to another room down the hall. She gave me a different key and left me alone. I moved my stuff to the new room quickly and locked the door. I checked every corner twice before lying down again. I tried to sleep, but the fear kept my eyes open. It was only around 1 a.m., and I felt never ending. I kept listening for anything strange. In about an hour, I finally started drifting off, and I heard something that made my entire body turn cold. The sound of a housekeeping cart rolling down the hallway very slowly, squeaky wheels up the ground. The problem was that it was way past housekeeping hours, and they had the desk said no one else was working. I sat up in bed and listened. The cart's wheels stopped just right before the door. I didn't move. I held my feet there so I could listen. I heard something else. I heard someone else right outside the door. It sounded exactly like the heavy, slow breathing I heard from inside the first room. It went on for almost a full minute. I wanted to run, but I instead of the fucking room on the desk, I was too scared to move. And I heard a gentle knocking sound. Not with temper, but like someone pressing their top against the door softly. I got up after a few minutes and looked through the people, but the hallway was empty. I checked my phone, and thought the phone was not pressing me. I felt like they would think I was crazy. I knocked the candle and pushed the chair against it, and sat awake for hours. I kept thinking about the first room and breathing.
No,
I tried to convince myself
that gas truck's not gonna last much longer.
That's it. Early in the morning around sunrise, I finally left the room and went downstairs to check out. The woman at the desk was like,
Okay, y'all are done.
Wonderful happened.
Spider-Man's up there!
There's
no stopping the prophecy!
The woman who used to work nights to stop. The other else was on top of the room.
I have them!
Something about housekeeping at the desk said housekeeping all the hired for a week. I don't know if she made that up or if she actually thought Melissa would have done it. Even pulled in the room and outside my door sounded too moving. With the closet door moved on its own, still makes me feel sick. There's someone was hiding inside that room before I entered it. I think they were still hiding something in the hotel while I slept. I work as a house person.
Take your place with the unworthy!
Maintenance and housekeeping. My job is to mostly help the front desk, which mainly involves me facing appliances and cleaning up supplies. Everyone I got. Two of them stacked towels, which is relevant to the story of the episode. This took place in summer of 2020.
The Crimson Hour awaits you, Spider-Man!
The privacy business called Oak I worked in the night shifts, but I had a schedule change to help her on nights. It was a Wednesday night, so for our it's a mix of
Webs will keep the
and
truck stable until it's ready to
My
unload.
job is to mostly
They save
think
my
they were
butt
still
every
hiding
time.
somewhere in the hotel while I slept. I work as a house person for the hotel. It's a mix of maintenance and housekeeping. My job is to mostly help the front desk, which mainly involves me fixing guests' appliances and cleaning up supplies. Another one of my jobs is to keep our pool clean and stacked with towels, which is relevant to the story I'm about to share. This took place in summer of 2023. The boss hired a new front desk worker, which for privacy reasons, I'll call her Brianna. She was working the night shifts, so I had a schedule change to help her on nights. It was a Wednesday night, so for our hotel, it was a dead night, basically no check-in. Me and Brianna mostly just chatted for the night while we did our stuff, which led to me going to our pool. For a guest, if you wanted to go swimming, you had to fill out a form, which basically gives you all the rules. They'll be heading to pool. Managers gave us employees master keys that could get you into basically anything in the hotel. I flipped the key onto the lock. Number one, pool has a storage room which stores towels and also other stuff like chlorine and whatnot. I opened the storage room and grabbed towels, since I saw there was little beyond that. As I was bending down to grab one more towel, and something hit the water. I actually jumped because it startled the hell out of me. It caused me to drop the towels. I rushed down back to the pool area and saw one of my lifesavers floating on top of the water. It was so bizarre that there was no way this lifesaver could have been in the water without having been tossed into the pool. I looked around the pool to see if someone had entered. There was no one in here except for me. I pulled the lifesaver out of the pool and quickly got back to putting something out in the lab. It was weirded out for sure. I asked Brianna, who was at the front desk, if anyone went to the pool. Of course, she said nothing. I didn't want to bring up the weird incidents I did. She was new and wanted to give her a good impression of not sounding like it before. The night went on. Nothing happened until 9:30 p.m. I grabbed the maintenance and figured out what the problem was. The 324's toilet wasn't working. Bobbed my way into 324 and let myself in.
You blended in with the sidewalk.
The opened the immediately to the right was the bathroom.
Hold on, without any further ado, listening to a story from Mr. Nightmare, Scott Ford, Scary True Hotel Horror Stories. For the record, I'm in Pittsburgh, PA. It's 10:54 a.m. and it's overcast in Pittsburgh, just how it's overcast in New York is reflected in the setting.
Straight past the bathroom, you'll find 2 beds on the right side of the
Let me
room.
check.
I headed right towards the toilet.
It's overcast in New York as well, just like it is in Pittsburgh.
When you open the door,
Cloudy.
immediately to the right is the bathroom. You walk straight past the bathroom, you'll find 2 men on the right side of the room. I headed right towards the toilet and lifted the lid up to fix it. There was no one in the room since Brianna told me the guest wasn't arriving until Friday. While I was adjusting the bathroom climb to the side of the toilet to see what wasn't working, I felt the temperature all of a sudden drop. I stopped what I was doing and stood there, feeling the hairs on my arms slowly raising up. And said in my head, that's one of the best that could possibly happen to the hairs. Then I realized it could be one more day. It was a summer night. The warmth wasn't right to be specific. So what the hell did the temperature drop? As soon as I had this thought, I felt the air return towards me. The hairs went back down. I checked the thermostat in the room. It read 68 degrees. It could be warm enough for me. That happened to die completely. I wanted to fix the toilet and get out of here. But when I reached the bathroom, back to fixing the toilet. It felt like 2 minutes went by. I heard the toilet start to flush again. I slide out of the room. Watch the water mix with the pipe down back. With the sound of the water, there was an audibly loud thump coming this tenor outside the bathroom. I came to place. Then, that not too familiar cold feeling coming back. My heart started to race as my mind started to race. I went to the back door. If I looked back on top of the toilet, made my way out of the bathroom. I turned my headlights to the kitchen gas. I saw the room phone and then still going on. However, I wasn't paying attention to the phone going on. I was paying attention to what I saw past the phone. In the corner of the room, right next to the bed, there was a really tall portrait, dead still as ever. I felt myself struggling to breathe when I was looking. I was frozen stiff in the doorway of the bathroom. I couldn't feel any features on the person.
Sorry to scare y'all.
A thinking black figure in the room, like a character outline we were locked in a fighting movie. It stood so still, I couldn't get any noise in it from it. I swear to God. She did whatever. I don't know which way to move, but all I know is I saw this figure move. Actually bolted to the door. Flinging it open so fast, I almost smacked myself in the face. Closed the door, rushed back down to the first floor where Brianna was at the front desk. I told her that I was punching out. We said our farewells for the night. While everyone was ground trying to figure out what would happen to me. I connected the pool to the room. I had no idea what that thing was. Yes, I saved children because I realized I couldn't see any human I know. how I couldn't read a single feature of it. It was enough for me to get out of there. I think the thing that just went fix me, that I had no way of knowing before. I couldn't read like it would happen to me since I did before, because that was the scariest night of my life.
Who is in that car? Hey, or go? I said, Luke. You thought I said, hey, this character was trained to go under the lights and you the car. It's a lot different from the guy that was dead. Any character was true. Over the time period, he's gone through a lot of shit that, guys feel like you can just things type stuff goes on anyway. Even come on, it's been that way since the beginning. It's just a little more sophisticated, a slicker character. But I'd say when the three of them, they read without knowing who you're dealing with, if you end up with this guy.
That's bold to steal from an armored truck.
What you gonna do with your share? Buy some properties in Nebraska. Your stuff's pretty cheap there.
You're moving to Nebraska?
Hell no. I'm gonna rent them and, what's that saying?
This happened many
Let
years
the
ago.
market sort itself
I've never
out.
liked camping. I'm just not built for it. The dirt, the bugs, the uncomfortable nights in a sleeping bag that somehow always end up feeling like a rock by morning. Fortunately, I've been camping more times than I can count, though never by choice. My dad is one of those rugged, wilderness-loving types, and every summer when I was a kid, he dragged me out into the woods with equally rugged friends to disconnect from technology and reconnect with nature. By the time I hit sophomore year of high school, I had enough of suffering in silence. I finally convinced him to let me bring a friend along to make the whole thing a little more bearable. I surprised, he agreed without much fuss. But I brought my friend Charles from school. Things made it worse.
Anyone see some robbers who are looking to lose a fight?
You're not a real fan if you don't have the outdoors. Plus, figured if I had to suffer, instead of suffering with someone who knew how to move a fire and pitch a tent without turning it into a full-blown disaster. Partly because you love
I'll take you down!
but also because you look for any excuse to get away from it. Fortunately, the trip didn't go as planned for this time.
The only thing y'all are robbing today is...
Dad's friend had messed up the campsite.
Oh. I guess it's
Instead of
nothing.
some remote, peaceful spot deep in the woods, I ended up in this forgotten, overdeveloped campsite. Talking indoor bathrooms, paved walkways, and
So, this is from Mr. Nightmare, 3 terrifying, true, scary stories.
in a playground for without trying to get into a full-blown disaster.
Hey, y'all.
He was stoked to get back, partly because he loves camping, but also because
Loving the kicks,
back then,
dude.
he looked for any
It's
excuse to get away
sensational.
from his parents.
Sensational
The
Spider.
trip didn't go as planned from the start.
It's the
Turned out that one of
sensation.
my dad's friends had messed up the campsite booking.
The
Instead of some
sensation.
remote, peaceful spot deep in the woods, ended up at this cramped, overdeveloped campsite. We're talking indoor bathrooms, paved walkways, and even a playground for little kids. It wasn't camping. It was basically glorified backyard living, or glamping, I guess. I'd say my dad was upset with the understanding. I didn't even discover the worst part until a few hours later. Right next to the campsite was a mini amusement park. Not joking, an actual amusement park with carnival games and Ferris
Yeah.
wheels, a handful of roller coasters.
Yeah, I'm at an amusement park
You'll
now.
never see
Ironically enough.
amusement park in the campsite. Everyone was pissed. Dad and his friend grumbled about how this wasn't real camping. No, wouldn't shut up about it either. This isn't real camping, I said, as if I needed a reminder. It started getting annoying. His transcript making jokes about my family, as if he didn't know what real camping was. As much as I hate camping, I know what it's supposed to look like. I was getting annoyed that Charles was suggesting otherwise. I told him to knock it off. He did. The whole situation sucked.
Knock it
We were
off.
7 hours from the site. It wasn't like we could just turn around and leave. So there was no better option. Made the best of it. The grown-ups sulked for a bit, but eventually got to work setting up the camp. Charles, of course, stepped up like it was time to shine. Within minutes, we had our tent up, all the knots tied perfectly, the rain-fly secure, the whole thing squeaked and taut like it came out of a manual. Even my dad, who never really gave compliments unless he was bleeding or unconscious, nodded in approval, which got under my skin a bit. Charles and I were sharing a tent, and once everything was set up and dinner was done, we slipped away for a bit under the excuse of organizing our stuff. It was. Charles had brought a little metal pipe and some weed and an old Altoid camp. Nothing crazy, just enough to take the edge off. I should mention, Charles and I were in that delinquent phase of life. Nights causing trouble and hanging around in places we didn't belong.
Oh yeah?
I don't smoke weed anymore.
Stopped
I
it.
always wonder. The only reason I ever did was because I was trying to stick out. Two of us snuck into the woods and smoked. Talking to ourselves.
We do have the same
I
eyes.
don't think either of us were worried. We finished our seconds. And then we got
You know when to give up.
throughout. Way too much energy to sleep. All had a very vicious grin in his face. Don't imagine this thing suggested we go explore the things. Until I realized he was exploring the region, which instantly piqued my interest. He said it probably going to dissipate getting to the top of one of those roller
The other
coasters.
Spider-Man appreciates what
Climbing
you
stuff
do.
was something
He
we
totally
loved doing
does.
back then.
He's cool
Well,
like that.
climbing a roller coaster was exhilarating. So after we were sure everyone was asleep, we made our move. It was really late at night, well after midnight. We grabbed our flashlights and headed to the fence surrounding the park. It wasn't even that hard to climb. A little beach yard, and we were in. What is this there? There was a security guard patrolling. Every so often, we'd come with a golf cart in these rounds. Felt like we were in some kind of stealth video game, sneaking around and trying not to get caught. These guys do the types slowly, ducking behind buildings and keeping up in the floor. At one point, I had to sprint across an open stretch of road to avoid a guard. Not just really thrilling, but also scary as hell. It's hard to describe. Everything seemed like a game, but both of us knew the consequences would be harsh if we were caught.
This is a game.
Finding things at the base of the roller coaster. From up close, it looked way bigger than it had from the campsite. We spotted the maintenance stairs running up alongside the main ascent as it was. Metal rungs playing softly under our feet, climbed 9 steps at a time, not to make too much noise. There were no railings for part of the stretch, which was actually kind of terrifying. We finally reached the top. We were unreal. See the entire park below, with a single photo of her, as you can see here. We've been taking more pictures, and it's being extremely effective, so we cannot draw attention to ourselves. We wouldn't be able to get away with it if someone spotted us from below. Eventually, we pushed our luck long enough and decided to head them. After making it to the bottom, we started creeping through the park back the way we had come. For whatever reason, the return route was much quicker than the initial one. Maybe the patrol wasn't as intense or something like that. I really couldn't tell you. Maybe 20 minutes from the spot we had the police. We had to speak. With the guard was making a round to the golf cart, we had to quickly duck behind a snack shack and wait for them to pass. That's when I noticed something move in the dark. First I thought maybe I imagined it. Maybe it was a shadow from the golf cart's headlight bouncing off something weird. And Charles touched my arm, pointed in the same direction. I focused my gaze a bit more. Further. About 30 feet away, it was barely visible in the darkness between two buildings, with another person. They were crouching down, just like us. They were also sneaking around and trying to avoid the guards. It didn't look like a kid, though. The worst
Not
part
my
about
favorite
it,
kind of
I was
robots,
fairly
but that's
confident
okay.
they were looking for Russ to get it. At this point, we were kind of scared. We were patrolling guards, and now this. The situation was getting a little overwhelming. Not because we wanted to, but couldn't move. The guards still hadn't passed yet. I kept my eyes glued to the figure, and it actually started moving. It darted across a patch of open ground and right through the little spell of light coming from a nearby street lamp. In a split second, I saw it clearly. It was a man, as I suspected.
Which one of you is the alpha?
This really awkward start. It was like a creature. It was like a fight. With blood figures. With a fucking spirit. Looked like blood. Charles saw it too. Two of us experienced a really terrifying thing. We were being ducked out of sight.
Actually, can you guys come back later? I just went through a whole thing and I'm kind of tired.
I checked over my shoulder. Stuck. There. The back victims. They did the same way we did it. Back up on the other side. The difference was this figure was the guy who saved confines of our team. I followed the figure the same thing. I'm using it to they're about to cross the that's what to come up with. I guess some homeless guy grabbed his one. It was the explanation. Let's take what we can. One started off with got up, right here to go fishing. Families came around to our tent site. We got the announcement that the whole tent site was supposed to be apparently a big stats if you killed them out there. A lake about 4 miles away from the campground. And we did it immediately right. The guy who did it is still on the loose. The local sheriff's office had after all park rangers and his campsite staff within a certain mile radius to be on high alert. Acting as a disheveled white man with big shoulders. So this has to be with blood on his clothes.
Hunters always keep me on my toes.
We're not going to bring them leave for our own safety. Charles and I instantly connected the dots. It must have been that guy we had seen. We kept our mouths shut. We didn't tell my dad. We didn't tell the Rangers. I still don't really know why. I know I'm going to get a bunch of hate for this, and I get it. That baggage, we're convinced we're staying in trouble. I still kick myself for not speaking. My statement could have led to the capture of a dangerous person who may have gone on to commit more crime. I'm still close with Charles. We went to the same college, graduated together, and worked in similar fields. These experiences, something we don't usually talk about, though. If I'm being honest, I think Charles feels much more guilty about not speaking up than I do. Mistakes and regret is bad. I think it's crazy, but my friend and I were mere feet away from a murderer on the run. I don't like thinking about what could have happened had we crossed paths that night.
Welcome to the mysterious Spider-Man!
This happened back in October of 2016. All over the news.
I remember that.
Clown sightings across the country. Most of them were obviously posters and people just trying to get attention. As you know, there were a couple of few cases that were downright terrifying.
Oh, whoa. No weapons? Not my problem.
I may be an illusion, but your death comes for you wherever you are.
I said to me with one of them. I was 16, junior in high school. I just finished 17. I was a junior, saying goodbye to all my friends. Hopped on the 6 train heading uptown. The train was mostly empty. It was kind of unusual, but not unheard of. very attentive to my surroundings. I had my headphones in, I reflected music, great background. They couldn't have worse. I was reviewing a half flashback of my phone. Maybe I was unaware as humanly possible. Never a good idea when traveling. If I knew the area well, I would probably be fine. I wanted to get off at 96, then walk down from there. It's the regular Wednesday.
I expect better from the amazing Spider-Man.
Arrived at 96. I jumped into the station. I moved quickly to make sure it was the right station. That train ride was something I had done so many times that the routine had become second nature. Getting on and off was like a reflex. I still played with my phone. The music still blasting in my ears. I opened the doors. As soon as they split open, I realized at the edge of my vision that something was obstructing my path. I looked up and realized some guy was pressing directly into the doorway. It wasn't a normal person. It was a clown. He was wearing a full red oversized rainbow red with red suspenders, giant red shoes. It's exactly white makeup smeared across his face. That gold with rays, those cartoon makeup. The only thing missing was the wig. It was literally frozen in shock at the sight of me. Not only was I caught completely off guard, but until then, I had been in such close proximity to something so bizarre. I didn't say anything, just stood there, not trying to get on the train, but clearly preventing me from getting off. I snapped out of my gaze, realized I had a good 5 seconds before the doors would close, so I had to do something. I tried to cross past them, but literal made contact with us. We moved out one fluid motion and we were trying to make sure we were face to face. I was able to grab the door with closed, just sprinted past them. Back when we launched forward, and they attempted to tackle me. God took me to continue running. He started chasing me. He was terrified. And as around, they were being chased by the killer clown. 96th Street Station was relatively quiet in the area after this. I was essentially on my own. I tried to glance behind me, talking pursuing me. And was surprised to ignore me. He was running with his crazy motion, and his limbs were disproportionate. I was much more focused on what was going in his face. What looked like the kitchen. He didn't know where he had been hiding, or what his intentions were. I didn't care. He went up the stairs and out of the station. Immediately reported the situation to the police. He didn't follow me onto the street, but I was still pretty shaken up. The police sent someone down to the station, but he was gone by then. Even after talking